Emotional numbness is often misunderstood as the absence of feelings, when in truth it is the presence of too much pain, too much noise, too much history that the mind can no longer hold without trembling. So it creates a quiet room, an inner chamber where emotions are dimmed like a lamp with a trembling flame. Many people wander into this room without knowing when or how they arrived. One day they simply realize that laughter sounds distant, tears feel stuck behind the ribs, and joy seems like a language they once knew but have forgotten how to pronounce. Emotionally numb people are not cold, they are tired. They are not heartless, they are overwhelmed. Their numbness is a survival blueprint drawn in moments of deep vulnerability. It begins as a small detour. Avoid the pain just for a moment and slowly becomes the main road. The body adapts by softening its responses, like turning down the volume of a radio when the static becomes unbearable. Within this muted landscape, life goes on normally on the outside. They work, socialize, and smile at the right cues, but something within them feels disconnected, as if they are watching their own life from behind a frosted window. They crave warmth but cannot touch it. They long for passion but cannot feel it. This quiet emptiness is not a void but a protective veil woven from past disappointments, heartbreaks, traumas, or relentless stress. Emotional numbness becomes a shield, but also a prison, a paradox of safety and suffocation. Yet behind this stillness lies a question waiting patiently: can the frozen parts thaw? The journey begins not with force but with gentle curiosity, an invitation to step closer to one's own silence and listen to what the numbness is trying to say. From a psychological perspective, emotional numbness is often the brain's strategic response to overstimulation. When the nervous system is flooded repeatedly, whether through trauma, burnout, chronic stress, or emotional overload, it shifts into a protective state. This state is not a failure. It is an ancient mechanism designed to keep us alive. The mind closes certain doors to prevent collapse, much like shutting down non-essential systems during a storm. But the longer these doors stay closed, the harder they are to reopen. In this frozen emotional field, people may experience detachment from themselves, a phenomenon known as depersonalization, or detachment from the world, known as derealization. It is not madness, it is the psyche's way of reducing pain intensity. It is a dissociation, a psychological anesthesia. But anesthesia can numb both the wound and the skin around it, dulling not only agony but also affection. Many numb individuals describe feeling like characters in their own story, rather than the author's. They navigate life mechanically, relying on routine rather than desire. They fulfill obligations without feeling fulfillment. Their inner compass becomes quiet, and decisions are made from logic alone, not intuition or emotional resonance. The absence of feeling becomes both a relief and an ache. This numbness often coexists with hidden grief or unspoken exhaustion. Some carry childhood emotions they were never allowed to express. Others carry adult burdens they never had time to process. Some shut down after heartbreak, others after reaching a breaking point in silence. The causes vary, but the pattern remains. The psyche withdraws into a cold shelter to endure the storm. Yet psychology also teaches that numbness is reversible. Neural pathways remain capable of growth. Emotional warmth is not lost, it is simply waiting. What is frozen can thaw, not by force, but through gentle re-engagement, connection, embodiment, vulnerability, compassion. Healing emotional numbness is not about reopening the floodgates all at once. It is about learning the language of the body again, syllable by silent syllable. Feelings are not destinations, they are movements. They return slowly, like sunlight entering a window after a long winter. The first step is awareness, the courage to notice that numbness is present. Many numb individuals judge themselves harshly, believing that their inability to feel makes them faulty. But numbness is not a character flaw. It is a message. It asks for patience, for gentleness, for acknowledgement. Instead of forcing emotions to appear, healing begins with small practices. Grounding sensations, slow breathing, placing a hand over the heart, acknowledging inner tension without trying to fix it immediately. Reconnection often begins through the body. Movement, stretching, warm showers, mindful walks, or creative expression help thaw emotional frost. Even noticing temperature, texture, or sound can reawaken dormant senses. Emotional awareness grows from sensory awareness. They are siblings in the nervous system. Equally essential is safe connection. People who feel emotionally numb often isolate themselves, believing that others deserve more warmth than they can give. But healing thrives in relationships, not necessarily romantic ones, but spaces where one can be accepted without pressure. To be gently seen, gently heard, and gently held in conversation can reintroduce the feeling of aliveness. Small emotions return first: mild contentment, slight sadness, the soft ache of longing. These subtle visitors are signs that the inner world is reactivating. With time, joy can break through, not with fireworks, but like the quiet bloom of a flower pushing through cold soil. Feeling again is not dramatic. It is intimate, delicate, and profoundly courageous. As numbness begins to lift, people often rediscover themselves, not as who they were before the emotional shutdown, but as who they are becoming. There is no going backward. Healing transforms. The thawed self is deeper, more compassionate, more attuned. Those who have survived emotional numbness develop a rare kind of wisdom. They understand silence, they understand pain, and they understand the fragility of being human. The psychology of emotionally numb people teaches us that protection and disconnection often grow from the same root. In attempting to avoid the unbearable, the psyche freezes everything, including love, curiosity, joy. But healing shows that emotions are not enemies, they are guides. They illuminate what matters, warn us of danger, connect us to others, and remind us that being human is not about perfection but presence. The dawn after numbness is not loud. It arrives gently, through laughter that feels genuine again, tears that finally fall, music that suddenly resonates, or a moment of stillness that feels peaceful instead of empty. These moments signal that the mind has reopened its inner rooms, letting warmth enter the spaces that once felt unreachable. Ultimately, emotional numbness is a story of survival and return. A journey through the quietest corridors of the psyche, a reminder that even when the inner world feels frozen, life keeps whispering beneath the ice, waiting for the chance to melt and flow again.